My bad. I wasn't consistent, y'all. I thought I was gonna be last year, the year before. I wasn't consistent. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm trying to change my ways. I think the last time y'all seen me, I was posting my Tulum vlogs for my birthday, and honestly, I've been wanting to like get back to being consistent on YouTube and all my other social medias and content pages as well. Like I just want to be more consistent, and so what better time to do it than now? All right, so let's go ahead and get right into why I'm making this video. A lot of y'all that do know me or follow some of my other content pages, y'all know that fitness is a very big thing in my life, right? I power lift. I love going to the gym. I love working out, and that's a big part of who I am. But for the people that aren't as into the gym, I don't want y'all to think like, oh, I'm not really into the gym. His content isn't gonna be for me. Hold your horses. I want to do more than just gym content. I really want to be. I want to do gym content, of course, but I also want to do vlogs. I want to do lifestyle content. I want to show you guys me going on vacation. I want to show you guys me going to events with friends and family. Like, I want to show more than just, oh, okay, yeah, we get it. He goes to the gym. I want to show more of me. I want to show more of my personality, who I am, what I go through as a human being in this world. Like, I want to get into all of that. So just stick around. For those of y'all that aren't into just gym content, it's gonna be more than just gym content. Just hold on, I promise. Now, what I will say is I don't know how many times a week I want to post. I'm not 100% sure of that yet, but you're gonna get there one step at a time. Also, if I'm looking to the side a little bit, that's because I'm like actually not looking at the lens. I'm looking at myself in my like little flip screen. So that's why I'm looking to the side, because I'm looking at myself, but I'm like, I need to be looking at y'all. Y'all need to have my attention. You feel me? But anyways, with that being said, I know I said gym content is not going to be everything on this channel, but we're going to start with that first. If you don't know, my name is Sadiq Mitchell, and I'm a powerlifter. And this is kind of just, I want to kind of go through my experience of starting powerlifting in my first competition and the events leading up to it. So I'll say that I started powerlifting probably like end of June, beginning of July. I'll say something like that. So I started powerlifting. I had a coach, and we were kind of well on our way. I didn't know when I was going to compete, but it wasn't really about that. It was about getting the bare bones of like form right, building strength, because I wanted to also bulk at the time, and we kind of settled the fact that I was going to be in the 220-pound weight class. So over the next couple months, I'm kind of getting used to the movements. I'm getting used to lifting heavier weight. I learned very early on that form matters, because my first time deadlifting, and I didn't realize it at the time, I messed my back up, right? Not like in like some severe injury way where I had to go to the hospital, but like my back was kind of hurting for the next couple months. And that's just because like when I first tried to see how much I could deadlift, I didn't have like a proper belt. I probably didn't have the proper technique. And after lifting 315, like for the next couple months, my back was like, I don't like you. Moving forward, I graduated 2023, and by this time, I think we had settled on the fact that I was going to compete in April of 2024. So I get back home. I'm looking for a job. I was looking for one in my field, which is film and television, but at the time, I just wanted, something just to get some money in the pocket, So I ended up becoming a turf tech, which was, if you have seen those like trucks with the motors and the hose on the back, which like True Green, Top Turf, those types of companies, like where they're spraying the lawn and stuff like that, that's what I was doing. And if you have seen like them actually do their job, or you have somebody that comes to your house that does that, you know that they're out there in the sun, they're pulling the hose, they're walking all over the yard, you feel me? So like, I was kind of at my weight that I needed to be for my class, and I was going to maintain all the way through. As soon as I started working this job, lost about 10, 15 pounds. I'm getting nervous now, but fortunately, I was able to find a job closer to my house, probably about like 2 or 3 weeks before my competition. So in those 2, 3 weeks, I was able to, start eating back how I normally do, and I was able to gain back a little bit of weight. I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I was for sure in that like range of my class, but I was definitely like under the weight that I wanted to be. But you have just many like federations, but you're just like groups that like have their own set of governing rules of how they do things. I was in the USAPL. You have IPF, you have PWRF. I don't know. I don't think powerlifting. I don't know if powerlifting American and IPF are kind of like together. I don't know. But point being, there's different federations which have their own sets of rules. So what did that mean for me personally? That meant that on Friday, me and my homeboy Preston, who also is a powerlifter, he's my gym bro. We almost go to the gym almost every day together. We push each other. That's my bro for real. And you'll see him in some of these clips as well. He was gonna be my handler for the meet. So my coach was in a different state, and so you don't have to have a handler for a meet, but it makes things a little bit easier if you do. And what does a handler do? What does they entail? To me, the easiest way to like just to explain it is they're the brains of the operation while you're basically like the physical body for the day. So before you get to comp, you obviously are going to discuss the numbers with your coach, with your handler or whatever, and you're going to know, okay, I'm aiming to hit this, and this. Your handler on the day of is going to be the person that's watching you and helping you through your meet essentially where, oh, this looked like this, I think you should shoot for this, or that didn't look too well or too great, I think we should back off and maybe not do this and maybe not do that. They're going to be the brains of the operation, thinking more so about the numbers as they watch you go through the day, whether that's helping or telling you about your nutrition, like, hey, I think you should eat this, or I think you should do, you know what I'm saying? They're basically the brains of the day. So you kind of don't have to think about what you have to do. You kind of just got to go to the platform and perform. Preston and I and a couple of my other friends went down Friday, and once I got down there, we checked into our hotel room, dropped our bags off, and we went straight to the venue that was hosting the competition. And being in the USAPL, you weigh in the day of. Some other federations, like I said, different federations have different rules. Some federations, they let you weigh in the day before, and there's advantages to that, which could be being your weight that day, but then on meet day, you have a little bit more weight on you. So, you know, mass moves mass, like that type of thought process. But USAPL, you weigh in the day of. So we got to the venue and we checked in, which involves checking to make sure your equipment is cool, making sure you got the right SBD belt, the right knee sleeves, the right shoes, your shirt, like everything down to the singlet, your shirt, your socks. Like they want to make sure that nobody's cheating, that you're wearing regulated stuff. We ended up going back to like our side of town, went to go get lunch, and then we went back to the hotel, and we were kind of, Preston and I were kind of just going back and forth on like what my opening numbers were going to be for that day, as well as just like planning out the rest of the hypothetical, I want to hit this, and this, so that we can have a fairly loose but kind of tight guide on what I wanted to hit. Go to sleep. Of course, me being anxious, I wasn't nervous, it was more so anxiousness. I had a hard time going to sleep. Wake up in the morning around like 5 o'clock maybe to get there by like, I want to say we got there like 6:37 maybe. I don't know, something like that. Get to the venue and everybody's weighing in, men and women weighing in. After a while, of course, we have our little meeting beforehand of going over the rules, what you can, what you can't do, da-da-da-da. And then everybody breaks off into their own little area. You know what I'm saying? There's squat racks all lined up against the wall. There are power racks on the wall, you know what I'm saying? And you just set up camp wherever you can so that, you know, you can do what you need to do. Start warming up, and that's basically it for like the morning routine of like that. The way that a competition usually flows and runs is that the women go first and they do their lift, and then the men go. So the order is squat, bench, deadlift, and the women squat first, all the women go, and then all the men go, right? And then it would be the women come back up, they bench, then the men come and they bench, then the women come deadlift, and the men deadlift, right? Everything is according to your weight and your opener numbers, etc. That depends on like where you're at standing wise as far as like order, for lack of a better term. This is our first competition, so mind you, I'm anxious because like I've lifted in front of people before, but not like this, like not where like there's an audience that's like just watching and sitting there for you. You know what I'm saying? Judges, etc., etc., etc. So my boy Derek, he took all this footage, so shout out to Derek. For my first squat attempt, I'm up there, I'm in my line. I know that I'm about to be up next, but I have my headphones on, and I was just kind of relying on Preston to like tell me when it was my turn. And I think that it was just so much kind of going on, and like this is our first time doing this, that neither him nor I had heard them call my name. So usually what they do is they'll say Sadiq Mitchell or whoever such and such, the bar is loaded. And when they say the bar is loaded, I believe it's a minute. I think you got a minute to get to the rack, set up how you want to set up, and start your lifts. If you don't do that within the time frame, then you don't get to lift, right? So then that's a missed lift. And I think that we were kind of rushing just because like we thought we had a little bit more time and they called it and we didn't realize that I got my headphones on and the lady that was kind of like responsible for getting us to the platform, she was like, it's your turn, da 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 da. I didn't realize that. I'm like, oh, so I don't press in my headphones. I'm going up there like I'm kind of frantic now. I'm like, oh, I don't know how much time. I didn't even check the board to see how much time I had left. Like if you see over here, right, this is like the board with the names over there, right? The time is like a little bit above there. This is Preston for those of y'all that don't know right there. The one that's me mugging with the hat on right here. Shout out my boy. But yeah, like I was kind of really quick with my walk up, racked it, and I kind of just squatted and I kind of got back up. Got I think I got 2 red lights and 1 white light. Or was it 3? I don't know. But it was no lift. It was a bad lift, right? There's a lot of different reasons why you could get a red light. I'm not gonna go over that right now. But if you get 2 white lights or more, you're good. You get 2 red lights or more, it doesn't count as a lift and it doesn't count towards your total. So going into that lift, I was like, yo, I just got with 3 red lights or something like that. I'm like, now I'm really nervous because I'm like, what if I just have all these people come here to watch me and I'm not good at this? Me and Preston had to have a little conversation. We're like, okay, we both got to lock in like when they're calling my name for 1. And then 2, I had an internal conversation of like, you got to calm down, right? All the preparation for this has been done. Like all the training, that's the prep for this. To me, the training is the hardest part. Now it's like, you know what you could do, just go out there and do it. And I believe this is my 2nd attempt right here. This is my 2nd attempt walking up. I don't remember. I'll put the weights up here, somewhere over here. But had my walk up. I was kind of cool, calm, collected. I had the time to actually, lift. Like I had the time to set up how I wanted to set up. I set up, and I say it was pretty smooth. Pretty smooth. For my first competition, after I got this lift, I was pretty excited. I was like, okay, we can do this. The confidence was back. I think I got 3 white lights on that. That was pretty solid. You feel me? That was pretty solid. Next, my 3rd attempt. You get 3 attempts in powerlifting. This is my 3rd attempt. And I think at this point, like in my head, I'm kind of like my ego is coming up. Not because like, oh my God, I'm lifting the heaviest weight in the world, but it's just like, oh yeah, I could do this. Like, and then nobody's gonna stop me from doing it. So this was my 3rd lift, my 3rd attempt. It was crazy. Is like even though that was my 3rd attempt, and I don't know, maybe I just be leaving a little bit I be leaving a little bit on my plate, but like even though it didn't look the best to me as far as like a squat goes, it went up pretty fast, and it's like, bro, I definitely could have did more. Bench was honestly pretty smooth. That's probably the smoothest thing of the day. Everything was pretty smooth. So that was my first attempt. I'm gonna run that back just because I was a little quick, but like honestly, I think that was probably the smoothest thing of the day for me was bench. Like, and that was the thing I was most nervous about is my bench. Not because like I can't bench, it's just like numbers wise, like everything else is like kind of, and it's like bench is like yeah, you know what I'm saying? But bench was honestly smooth that day, and maybe that's because like I wasn't in my head that day. It was more so like, bro, I know you can lift this, so lift it. You feel me? And as you see through my lights, those are the lights that I'm talking about. Um, and that's again like this little area back here is kind of the area where athletes warm up and stuff like that before they come out. If you see like this little curtain behind, there's another like spreadsheet of basically like what the numbers are, what places you're in, the numbers you're going to lift, etc. But yeah, so that was my first attempt. hmm Pretty smooth, pretty smooth. So this is my 3rd attempt, and I was honestly pretty nervous about this one because like I was like, not that I've never done it before, but it had been a while since I had like hit this weight. But I was off of like 2 scoops, 3 scoops of pre-workout at this point. And that's what I be saying when I say I be thinking that I'm leaving like food on my plate. Is like I really feel as though I probably could have did more weight than that on my bench. But crowd will spill milk. It is what it is. This was my first attempt, which honestly was pretty smooth on the day. Very smooth. The numbers I wanted to hit, like I really wanted to get 500 pounds this meet, and I think the number I ended up hitting for my last attempt was 484, if I'm not mistaken. But again, you'll see what I mean when I say leaving something on the plate. This is my second attempt. Everything felt light. I don't know. Maybe it was the adrenaline that was going through my head at the time. Like I had a lot of adrenaline running. I had a lot of caffeine and pre-workout running at this time. Um, so who's to say why everything felt light? But I don't know. Maybe that's just preparation. Taking my time. I do what I need to do to set up. We're starting to shake a little bit, but it got up. And I ain't gonna hold you. Deadlifts is like you see Preston face, cause like we kind of shot up a little bit. You shot up a little bit than what my second attempt was gonna be, just to see like if I could crack it. And it went up easy. And I told Preston, I said, "Don't even tell me what you loaded for the third attempt. I'm picking it up." And I was kind of like hoping that he would like put a 500 on there, cause I really wanted to pull 500 really bad, 400 pounds. But I think he ended up putting 484, which I think was a good call. I think we probably could have pushed 490 and 500 if I really wanted to like stretch it. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But it definitely made me obsess over that 500 pounds. So walking up to the bar, I think this is 484 right now. I think I'm one of the last lifts. I'm not the last lift, but like this is definitely like the last lift for the guys. Like this is the third attempt for all the guys. So mm, mm-hmm. 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 Oh, I ain't gonna hold you. I had so much energy and so much hype because I was like, mind you, deadlifting is like my favorite out of all the movements. Deadlifting is my favorite, my top favorite. I just moving something heavy off the ground like that. It just wakes something up in you. I don't know what it is, but it just wakes you up. It's like, chill, have a matcha. And I said why I said it was a good call, maybe not to pull 500 is like, of course you see the legs are shaking. It happens when you're lifting something heavy. I'm cool moving here, but on the lockout from like right here, you see like it's a little bit slow to like really lock out for real. Like here it's kind of moving, it's moving, and then like right when it gets above the knee, it's just slow. I locked it out, but I don't know if I had 500 pounds if that would have moved the way that it did. Like it would have definitely been a lot more of a struggle. But yeah, that's basically the last part of my powerlifting journey. I give my boy a dap, and we walked back there, and that's all they wrote. I did get first, mind you, like in a lot of these local competitions, usually you're not like sometimes there are people in your weight class and sometimes there aren't. There happened to be nobody in my weight class, so I got first, right? That's just kind of how it goes. As competition levels get up there, you go to national, state, whatever, of course you're gonna have people in your class. You know what I'm saying? Those are the bigger competitions where people are traveling sometimes to even come to. But I think that there are pros and cons to that. Like a lot of people when they compete for the first time at a local meet, they don't have anybody in their class. And I think that could be a pro and a con because pro wise, it's like, okay, I don't have anybody else to compete with against. I don't have to think about it in that manner. But on the con side of it, if you have so many competitions without having another person in your weight class, it kind of, to me, I feel like it'll make you complacent. Like you'll get comfortable not being in that like, oh, like that dog mindset where like, oh, okay, I'm competing against somebody. It's like, I'm here to compete. I know I'm gonna get first because there's nobody in my class. To me, it puts you in a bad like state. To me, it gives you almost that like everybody wins state that like younger kids sports do, where it's like, oh yeah, you get a sport, you get a medal for just being here, just for playing the sport, but you didn't really win anything. Like I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that was my first actual experience powerlifting. And I'm not gonna lie, like I really love this. I really love this sport, man. And I did this competition, and then literally I think I want to say 6 months later I did another competition, and that'll be an entirely separate video in itself. But yeah, I don't know. It's something about this sport that just wakes me up. Like I love lifting heavy circles. I don't know what it is, but man, that's all for this video. That's all for this video. So again, if you stayed this long, everything's not gonna be gym content, right? I'm gonna really try to branch out and really show you guys like more than just gym, because that's more than what I am, right? So traveling, vlogs, vacations, family, friends, all of that. But the gym is a big component of who I am, so you're gonna see that a lot. And yeah, just all I can say is stay tuned, stay locked in, and we'll be back for another video sometime soon. Consistency for 2025. That is the key for this year.